Hello there. Welcome back to the Aether Universe Podcast. I am your host, AJ, and here with me, as always, is Aly.
Woo!
And this is episode 2 of the Aether Universe Podcast. Welcome back.
Glad you guys came back. Good to see you.
So what are we here to talk about today, Aly?
We are here to talk about what's on everyone's minds. What the hell is Aether?
What the hell is Aether? Why are you asking like that?
Because there's going to be people that want to know.
All right. Yeah. I mean, I guess you're right.
I am the voice of the people.
You are the voice. I like that. Just hold on to that notion too, because there will be things where I rant about, and like you can obviously take a whole bunch of stuff that I say and be like, hey, dissect what that is. What is that? Like, who is that? Why is that? And how is that happening? I want you to, remember that. Remember that. The voice of the people. I like it. Aly, the voice of the people. I like that. We're going to run with that one. So, what is Aether exactly? Aether is the name of the Aether comic book universe. It is not just a name. At some point, this was all a bunch of just randomness, just a bunch of random characters, a bunch of random acts, a bunch of random things, just stuff everywhere. A list of characters, a list of names of characters, a list of abilities, and all of these
fun facts,
everything. But Aether at this time, depending on which frame you're looking at it, if you're inside the fourth wall, then the Aether is the name of everything. Literally, Aether. Aether is the power of everything. That is what it means in the Aether universe. It's literally the power of everything. So once you take all of the elements, and combine them into one, that is when you have the Aether. The Aether is a being inside of the Aether universe that is pretty much omniscient. Mm-hmm. All powerful, and it is the creator of the universe, pretty much. So there's nothing that, think of it like, all right, so Pokemon fans, think of the Aether as Arceus. So in Pokemon, Arceus, the god of all Pokemon, he created all Pokemon, and he is every element of Pokemon that there is.
Oh, is that why it's so shiny?
Yeah, sure.
That's that one from that game, right?
Yeah, the one with the reins around it, the gold ring around his belly. It looked like a horse. It's white.
And it's white, yeah.
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 Okay.
So,
I'm there.
All right. So think of the Aether like that. Is literally, once again, the power of everything. Arceus is literally, his name is derived from that same word, Aether. Mm-hmm.
I was trying to figure out the how.
Oh, I mean, it's, yeah. But anyway, I don't really know. I'm pretty sure there's a video on it somewhere. I heard it on a video, so I know that. I mean, whether or not it's a thing or not, I don't know. But
for the voice of some people that are confused, we'll figure it out later.
But so the first Aether that I've ever created, her name was Aphrodite. Aphrodite was the first Aether in the Aether universe. The universe itself is derived from Greek mythology. I took a lot of influence from Greek mythology. There's a lot of Greek gods that appear in the Aether universe, such as Zeus, Hades, Hercules appears in the what is it, the 2194 BC situation there, which we haven't really talked about that book a lot, but it is something that I did put on the list of things to be done. That is just a book of, like, a precursor of things that happened before the story, that the Arcane and Calamity series, things that happened way back in the past when the Aether was young and still trying to figure out her powers. But in the Aether universe, the Aether is like I said, she's all powerful, but there's a caveat to her power, that the Aether has to break down into 5 different parts in order to maintain the balance of the universe, in order to keep that balance level. Because if the Aether combines its power, then it could be disruptive to the balance of the universe. So like I said, there is no life without balance. So in order for the Aether to balance itself, the Aether has to break down into 5 parts. That is the Aether core, the Aether shadow, the Aether seed, the Aether defender, and the Aether carrier. All 5 parts of the Aether, they serve their own purpose as a way to protect the identity. The Aether core is obviously your
main piece,
the main part, right? The body. Your Aether shadow is usually the demon that the
dark side.
Not necessarily the dark side, because dark side assumes that it's sentient. The Aether core is usually well, there was that one time that the Aether shadow became sentient, but that's a different conversation. But the Aether shadow is usually literally just shadow, like
Peter Pan.
Like Peter Pan. The Aether shadow can is not necessarily sentient. It's controlled by the Aether, but very loosely. It's almost like a marionette puppet if the wind was blowing and there was 2 strings broken. Like, I can still control it, but it kind of has a mind of its own. But don't fuck with me, because I will send it. But anyway, so those 2 are pretty much linked together. Then there's the Obsidian carrier, or the Aether defender, which is usually an Obsidian being. Like, there is usually the controller of the abyss.
Mm-hmm.
Which we'll get to that soon, really soon on another episode. Then you have the celestial, the celestial, or the Aether. Wow, what did I call it? Wow, I don't remember. But
there's another one.
There's 2 more. I remember the carrier, but then there's
defender and.
But I just literally rolled off the tongue, and now for whatever reason I can't think of it. I have it written down somewhere. There, like, it needs to be fully fleshed out, but there's I'm thinking like the Reyna character from Legend of the Oracles.
Mm-hmm.
The director of the BOA. She's another part of the Aether, but and also like Archon. So these 2 are Aether. They are also Aether defenders, but they are celestial. They have celestial powers, not Obsidian. And then you have the Aether Seed, the Aether carrier, and then the Aether Seed. Yeah, those were the 2. So the Aether carrier is the celestial body of the Aether, and they're also known as the celestial seed. And then you have the Aether Seed, which is the one that is there if anything ever happens to the other 4 parts of the Aether. Then the Aether carrier, which is usually a human, is the Aether seed usually gives birth to another Aether.
Wait, the seed gives birth to the Aether, or the carrier gives birth?
The seed.
Oh.
So the Aether seed gives birth to another Aether if the other 4 parts, if anything happens to the other 4 parts.
Oh.
So yeah, so it's all just like a check and balance system, pretty much like your government.
Except better.
Yeah, I mean, it's a matter of perspective, I guess, because there's
isn't it always?
There's pros and cons to all of it, which is the reason why the Arcane and Calamity series even happened in the first place, because the Ancient Arcanist said that This is the Aether. Here's the Aether's power. Here's what it can do. Here's what it stands for. But if this happens, or if things fall out of balance, or things fall out of whack, this is going to be bad. So like these are the things that's going to take place if the Aether falls out of balance, and you guys should be prepared for it. So that was the whole purpose behind the Arcane Calamity and the Arcane Prophecy itself. So it's a lot of stigma and a lot of research being done by most of the characters in the Aether universe on the Aether itself. Even the Aether, like the Aether is still doing research on itself. Like the characters who are the chosen Aethers, because like when the Aether is born, when the Aether Seed is born, or when the Aether core is born, almost think of it like God being rebirthed into a human body. Like the Aether core is born from the Aether Seed, from the last generation of Aether, and then instinctively, because the universe has to maintain that balance, four individuals in that universe has to be chosen to carry on the slate of those other four branches of the Aether.
Talk about pressure.
Right. But the only thing that isn't linked to the Aether is the anti-Aether. So the anti-Aether is a completely different entity that and its main purpose, like we said, there's no life without balance. The checks and balance system also maintains the fact that there's an anti-Aether in place to destroy the Aether if the Aether ever uses its powers for evil. Because the Aether is literally the only thing in the Aether universe that can destroy whole
life.
Like all life, yeah. So the Aether created all elements. So we have in our universe, or the midworld, you have Aphrodite who created Neona, which is the anti-Aether. The anti-Aether created the Sky Guardians, and the Sky Guardians created the atmosphere and life on Earth, and then they created man, and so on and so forth. And like these just like, and they created the different elements because the Aether had to be broken down into 10 different parts. So all of the 10 elements, including the Aether itself as an element, were all created. They created the Titans, and the Titans also helped create the world that we know as Earth in the Aether universe. So that is a brief description of the Aether. It gets really deep though. Especially when you start talking about Aether connections, which is the connection that the Aether has to every other Aether in the universe, which I haven't really gone that far into yet, but like I'm just like looking at the fact that like I have characters in the Aether universe that are other Aethers. Like there's more than one. So you think like every star that you see is another universe, and there's an Aether in place to maintain all of that.
That's terrifying.
So yeah, it is. It really is. So in the Aether universe, there is mostly the characters of the Aether universe doing their best, doing their damnedest to try to figure out how to maintain the balance of Earth, and all worlds that tie to Earth and linked to Tartarus, because all of it is still inside of Tartarus and being held by Atlas and all that other stuff like that. So, and Atlas also holds the Abyss and the Luminarch inside of his hands, and that is the two spectrums of Celestial and Obsidian that binds the universe itself. So, and when I say Celestial and Obsidian, I mean dark and light. So Celestial is light, and Obsidian is darkness, obviously. So obviously, I mean, it's just Obsidian black, like that's an obvious thing, right? Like, no,
I mean, Celestial is also like angelic kind of thing, so you think of white, but
exactly.
It's not necessarily obvious.
Sure, voice of the people.
I'm just saying that not all of us are geologists.
The geologist. I mean, I guess obsidian is a stone, so.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Okay, all right, but in this term, obsidian is not a stone. It's the. I mean, I guess it would be a stone if they found obsidian stone in the Aether Universe. Would they call it obsidian, or I don't know. That's some stuff that.
I just blew his
That's some
mind.
fourth wall stuff there.
I just blew his mind.
But there are
Mark
things,
this day.
But there are things with different names. So. But in the process of the Aether Universe, where characters are trying to figure out the origin of the Aether, why the Aether is, and how to maintain the balance of the universe while the universe is losing its balance, there are other individuals such as the faculty who strives to be as powerful as gods, and they're using the elements and the elemental relics as a means to recreate the Aether.
Dun, dun, dun.
So when we start talking about the artificial Aethers of the universe, then that's going to be a very interesting conversation. I can't wait to dive into that.
That'll be exciting.
But anyway, that will be the end of this episode. I hope you guys enjoyed the conversation about the Aether, and I hope it shines a little bit of clarity, a little bit of celestial clarity onto your noggin frame. And if you want to know more about the Aether Universe and everything that's happening in it, be sure to go over to ajmcmullen.com. That is AJMCMULLEN.com. And sign up for my newsletter and click on the subscribe page and sign up for the newsletter. Get a free book, a free novella at this point. Be on the lookout for this podcast. Remember that I make this podcast because I do not write fast enough to keep up with you guys, because you guys read like animals and maniacs and sitting in front of books for ages and reading everything that you get your hands on, and I can't keep up with you. So I'm gonna make this podcast so you guys can continuously have content, and I hope it helps. There's a lot of things to dive into in the Aether Universe, and this podcast is meant for you to have something that guides you in the right direction of what to do first, and how to what kind of information you get from the Aether Universe. And by the way, Guardian of the Pacific is not the first book. For whatever reason, people always think that Guardian of the Pacific is the first book. All right, so let me explain this for a second, because this is also a question that we get at a lot of the conventions. People who think that Guardian of the Pacific is the first book, they also tend to think that the Gem State Siege isn't part of the same series. So, guys, just be aware that the Gem State Siege is book 1 of the Arcane and Calamity series. Guardian of the Pacific is book 2. Aryan Fallout is book 3, and Shadows of the Meridia is book 4. So those are the first 4 books of the Arcane and Calamity series, and they are linked. No matter what you read in them, they are linked. I promise you, do not underestimate the power of a good story.
Don't skip them.
Do not skip around.
Yeah.
Even if you think they're not tied, even if you want to follow a certain character, I promise you do not want to skip it, because you're going to miss something. There's some important information in them. There's some important information. Anyway, with that being said, we're going to end this episode. My name is AJ McMullen. Here with me is Aly, and I want you guys to remember that there is no life without balance. Even in your life, you need to have balance on all fronts of your life, whether it's your health, your finance, your family, your fitness, whatever the case is. You guys have to have balance in your life in order to live life in all of its glory. And if you don't believe me, I challenge you guys to go over to the other podcasts in the Ascension Podcast Network, the Dirty Trump Podcast, where the elephant is always welcome, and we have uncomfortable conversations about growth and personal development. And if you guys are into that thing, by all means, go ahead and find that podcast because it will inspire you to do everything that it is that you need to do. And, other than that, we're just going to end this episode because I'm about to go on a tirade and start going on the Dirty Trump podcast stuff. But anyway, see you guys next week.
Bye.